What's up, YouTube? This is Ultimate Shield 340 back at it again with another Destiny 2 video. So in today's video, I am actually running the last week's Grandmaster Nightfall, and the purpose of this is for me to test my skills and to see if I have improved or anything for the Grandmaster. The idea is that hopefully I should be able to start to be able to run like harder content with a little bit more consistency and being able to clear it. So in this Grandmaster, this week, well, probably by the time you see this, the week will be over, but it was the double, I guess it was Destiny week, and so you get double points for everything, any kind of content that you wanted to run. Specifically, I wanted to run this Grandmaster so that I could be able to start to farm those Ascendancy Shards, I think that's what they're called, but essentially the golf balls in order to masterwork my armor. Now, during this run, I am with two other people, and I'm sort of, kind of keeping myself in the mindset of, I need to make sure I stick next to my team and, do whatever I can to, help be an asset to my fire team, right? So this is my first time actually doing the Grandmaster, like on this difficulty. I've done this before, but not on the Grandmaster level. So as you can see right now, I'm actually running the Solar is my build that I'm using here. I actually really like Solar on the Titan, and then I am using a few exotics or whatever to help me win the day. So the weapon exotic is the Skyburner's Oath. Whole purpose is to not only is it going to stun those overload champions, but it's also going to help me to scorch targets, which will then create those sunspots out there and do a lot of good AoE damage. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I really like, as you can kind of see it in the background, that's why I really like the, Solar in general is actually like really cool in my personal opinion. Being able to get those scorch stacks off and those ticks that dot, and then in the event of the Titan, if you defeat a scorch stack and you have the Sol Invictus fragment chosen, or aspect I should say chosen, you will create those sunspots, and then enemies will continue to run through those sunspots, and then they'll be damaged and ignite and all those other things. The other thing I'm using here is Lorelai's helmet, where the idea is that if I get critically injured, it's supposed to proc and then give me restoration ×2, help me refill my health, and essentially the build revolves around scorching targets, refilling my class ability, which is where the Lorelei Splendor, it procs off of that. Essentially, once you activate your class ability, or you're critically wounded, you'll lose your class, like your class ability will be procced, and it will create the sunspot. Now, if you're hit critically, it won't actually put up the barricade. It'll just spawn the Sol Invictus restoration buff in the sunspot. But if you can actually manually cast it as well, which you'll see me do a few times in this video. So we're here in this room right now, and this is arguably probably the hardest, I would probably say one of the hardest spots on the Nightfall right here. This is a giant room. It's not a whole lot of cover that you can utilize, but we're kind of maintaining our distance and putting out solid DPS. The other two teammates that I have with me are great. They're doing a lot of damage. I'm trying to do my best to add to the damage and help us kind of win the day. One of the things about Skyburner's Oath I really enjoy, and one of the other reasons why I chose it as my weapon here for this sort of build, is because it does two things. First of all, it gives you those scorch stacks, and if you hit the target with enough of those lobs, it will eventually ignite the target. But then also, if you lob the shot at the target and you hit them, they will become scorched. And if you can actually zoom down sights and take out that target, and then it will also kill that target and then spawn that sunspot. Now, what I should have been doing is I should have been using that a little bit more often. The zoom down sights, the ADS. I should have been doing that a little bit more often, like times like these where like enemies are bunched up it's good for me to lob the shots, kind of as you see me doing here, to spread those scorch stacks. I'm critically wounded, so of course the Lorelei Splendor exotic comes in. And because I'm scorching targets, as you can see, my class ability is starting to continue to refresh. Being able to proc Lorelei Splendor again in the event that I go down or get critically wounded. I actually really enjoy this build. So, as you can see here, I am aiming down sights. It's quite a long distance from actually where the enemies are going to be. Not to mention it's going to be very hard to like lob projectiles over that way to scorch targets. So, you know, I just kind of do that, and then I sort of follow my teammates to allow them to give me sort of what we should be doing next. Now, again, I'm following their lead, and part of the success of this is to sort of take advantage of other players' experiences. It seems like these two guys kind of really know what they're doing, and again, this is my first time kind of running through this content, or at least on this level, I should say, this difficulty. This is my first time, so they sort of know where the spawns are going to be and things like that. So I sort of take their cue, kind of make sure I take a step back, make sure I'm not out there, you know, to get blown up. So far, so good. So as you can see here, the next wave comes out. We start to try and DPS the ads that are down. I'm kind of keeping an eye out on my teammates, but I see that we're kind of being cut off with those, I don't know what they call them, but those things will blow up in your face. I'm trying to maintain cover, run behind where I'm supposed to be. Lorelei Splendor does kick off, and because I was in the sunspot, I, you know, am taking advantage of the restoration and, you know, kind of trying to make sure I'm taking a far look back and making sure that I'm trying to protect myself at all times. Now, one thing about this game that I am slowly learning, and I want to kind of talk to you about and get you all's opinion about this, is the stats. One of my fellow YouTubers and clanmate Sloth Moods had said that, and I agree with him, he said that, you know, you need to optimize, like optimizing the stats is going to be great for you to help you, you know, sort of get through the content, and I agree with him. You know, the only thing is that, in my opinion, I feel as if the stats are kind of negligible, and what I mean by that is that even if you have the max amount of resiliency, right, if you have that 30%, and you're Grandmaster content, I feel like you still get shredded like very easily, and it feels as if it doesn't really matter. It does matter, but it doesn't feel that way, and I hope that makes sense, because the way I see it is that, like, granted, I'm not getting like one shot or anything like that, but I'm pretty much getting one shot, like 2 or 3 you know, attacks to me or whatever is enough to sort of do a lot of damage. And had I not had Lorelei Splendor, I would have definitely died and, you know, continued to go down time and time again, even with the max resiliency. Now, I'm not suggesting that, you know, just because I have max resiliency, I should be able to be invincible or anything like that. But you see right there where I just got shot, where I just, you know, I got almost got one shot. And although I would say you can make the argument of, well, I didn't go down because I have the, you know, max resiliency, you know, it's, you know, what's the difference between getting one shot and getting shot twice? You know what I mean? And like, I feel as if the resiliency should be blocking a little bit more damage. Now, granted, I'm not saying I should be able to just take an onslaught of bullets and just be able to live the tail. Especially in this higher amount of content, you definitely need to use cover and be aware of your surroundings for sure. But at the same time, you know, it's what's, again, one shot or two, and especially if you're in content like this, higher end content where there's a lot of people shooting at you all at once, it just feels that doesn't really mean much of anything, even if you have the top tier resiliency, right? So I guess that's kind of my little rant. That being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and pop my super, use it to attack these guys, create those sunspots, They do really good AoE clears and things like that. One of the biggest reasons why I really like the um, Solar Titan. And then, we're just going to try and continue to clear the ads and try and continue to move forward in this way. Now, one thing that you did see there that I wanted to make special mention of is that I think by the time you see this video, there probably will be another video that I put out about, uh, trying to increase my own personal survivability. In that video, I talked about void overshields, which you'll, of course, either will see after this video if you're, a fan of my channel and you sort of watch the videos every day. You'll either see it after this video or before. Either way, the point is still the same. I've been looking into other subclasses to see what is their, how do they maintain their survivability, and what tools can I use at my disposal to increase that. Because as I continue to play Destiny, I am still enjoying this game. It's a lot of fun, but I'm starting to try and get better as a player, where I'm trying to figure out what should I be doing to increase my personal survivability, so that I don't just continue to just die randomly all the time to just silly stuff all the time. So one thing for Solar that really helped out was again, Lorelei Splendor. Specifically, the restoration is something that Solar is really known for. So I'm in this build. The idea was that I was supposed to try and utilize the restoration buff to increase my survivability, and it's really come in handy several times. The only thing I would say that I don't like, or at least for right now, is because I feel as if it's somewhat of a crutch for me for right now, which is fine. I'm supposed to be using whatever the subclass benefit is to my advantage in order to increase my survivability, and that's what you're supposed to do. However, I don't always want to have to run Lorelei Splendor anytime I run upper level content. I want to be able to have the option to run other builds or other exotics to help me kind of push through content, but I need to figure out what the niche is at this moment in time, and just sort of lean on this crutch for right now until I figure out what I can personally do to increase my survivability at all times. And speaking of survivability, this is exactly what I mean when I say the max resiliency 30% is great, and you should definitely have it, especially in upper level content. As you can see right there, I just basically had really no time to respond. I got shot once, and then I immediately pretty much went down, even though I had max resiliency. So I hope that kind of illustrates the point I'm trying to make here about why I sort of have a problem with the resiliency thing. It just doesn't feel like it matters, honestly. It just doesn't feel like it. So, it's just one of those things. That time, I believe I actually did get killed by the walker tank thing that you saw in front of me. I'm still kind of having a hard time figuring out what is its telegraph move, so that I don't keep getting one shot as before. But now that I'm kind of learning a little bit, I sort of took a step back and trying to make sure that I don't repeat the same mistake over and over. So it was at this point I sort of noticed that my teammate is above me on the roof, and I thought to myself, I wonder if maybe he found a good way that he could attack the enemy without exposing himself to too much danger. Unfortunately, one of our teammates goes down, so I'm just gonna kind of hover around here just to kind of peek around the corner, see if I can pick off a few ads or two while I revive my teammate. and that's what I do here. So at some point, you see all those ads down there, and I'm trying to figure out what I can do to help teammate. So I jump on top of the roof, and I feel like he has a pretty good spot to cheese. And that's kind of what I decided I wanted to do as well, to my own, to help the team out and things like that. The idea is that, and again, one of the strengths of the Titan subclass Solar is that in the event that you saw that the boss was down over there, in the event that I had killed some ads and spawned that Sunspot, is going to continuously do AoE damage on the boss, increasing the scorch stacks, and eventually it was going to hopefully ignite and then cause additional damage. I'm up here and I'm just, kind of going to town with these guys down here. But then again, I just kind of get one shot. Now, for me, I know that I was exposed right there. And so I got shot by the snipers, which is fine. But again, it feels like I just got one shot. And it probably, like, you can go ahead and review the footage, do the replay, but felt like I got one shot even though I have the max resiliency. So, and I'm sorry to keep kind of harping on that, but again, this is another result. This is a silly death in my personal opinion, and not due to anything that my teammate did. He res me, and he did the right thing, and one could argue that me being upset about dying there a second time is my own fault because I shouldn't have died the first time. But again, just, I don't know, that kind of rubs me the wrong way. So it's just one of those things, I guess I just gotta learn to just accept and then move on. So here we are down here, and we're just gonna keep going to town on these guys right here, and then we're gonna try and move on. So in the essence of time, I sort of skipped ahead. We were able to clear those mobs, and then we made it to the final boss room, which you can see here. So this is the start of the encounter. We're checking out those champions and just preparing ourselves for the boss fight ahead. Now remember, I've never done this on the harder difficulty, and these guys already kind of know what they're doing, so I'm just kind of following their lead. And I'm just kind of sort of going around seeing what a good place to cover and things like that. So I'm sort of standing out in the open thinking that we should just be behind this thing right here. Now luckily for me, I was able to sort of use my hammer here to not only kill the ads and grant my team Radiant, but then it's also helpful for survivability. Every time you hit the guy with the hammer and pick it up, you get Cure, which helped me to survive in this particular aspect. And I'm actually quite surprised I didn't blow up right there because of that exploding ad right there. So I really got lucky. But at this point in time, it's like, hey, I gotta hit the hit my super, try and res my teammate. But again, he dies the same way I died earlier before, which is actually very not only is it is a little comical, but that can be extremely frustrating whenever you're out there trying to help your teammates and you're not able to kind of pick them up. But again, it's just one of those things. It is what it is. So for me, overall, looking at the footage and then sort of replaying it on for YouTube, I definitely feel as if I have improved, although I was still carried throughout this entire encounter, mainly because I didn't really know where the enemies were going to spawn and where the best places were to be. But also, I think there's something to be said about my weapon choices and my personal playstyle. I don't think there is, not that, like, I'm saying all this to you to say that, like, I'm not blaming anybody, nor am I blaming myself, but I also think that it's critical for not only me, but in the event that any of you kind of do the same thing in Destiny where you're trying to improve, I think you need to sort of look at what you're doing and take it with a critical eye, not in a self-deprecating kind of manner, but just hey, you know, these are some areas that I'm struggling at. These are some things that I can do better at. And so you take the time to look through it and learn. So yeah, so overall we were able to kind of get through all this up into the boss phase. I will let you see kind of what happens at the end here. That being said, if you watch the video up until this point, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. I'm trying to continue to grow the channel, and you know, I hope that you all will continue to enjoy the content that's coming out. Heads up, because Destiny content is sort of slowing down, I plan on probably doing some more you know, Final Fantasy on my channel for your viewing pleasure. So I hope that you guys are going to enjoy that and stick around for it. So yeah, other than that, this is Ultimate Shield 340 signing off, and I'll see you in Destiny 2. Peace.